Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? This was mainly by request. Somebody's been asking me, hey man, could you possibly do a Predator on your Sony X900e? We would really like to see what you can do on that television, and what type of custom picture settings can you imply onto that movie. So let's get right into it, shall we? This is Sony X900e, and it's right here. So there it is right there, Sony X900e. I purposely decide to turn off all my lights and show you the Predator movie on Apple 4K TV and do calibrations without any editing, all in real time, as you're gonna see. All right. And I'm purposely positioning my camera from the corner so that you guys can see just how beautiful this TV looks, even watching it from a corner. Now there will be some brightness, here and there, but that's because it's a LED backlit, full array of LED backlit. But anyway, let's jump into this. Oh no, Joe Rogan. I forgot I left it at Joe Rogan. So anyway, let's jump right into this. Let's go right to my movies, right here, my library. And it should be right over here. So there's Predator right there. Let me go up. Let me click on the Predator. So I'm going to select a scene here, and then I'm going to go through my custom picture settings. Well, as you can see right here, the movie has an excellent aspect ratio, which almost fills in the entire screen. And I can tell you just looking at it from here that the HDR compression definitely helps here. Because if you look at the Arnold hair, you can actually see a little bit of brown, gray. The 8.3 million pixels and HDR compression here with this TV definitely will give you a much better looking movie. Now, this movie, it's not mastered in HDR. I would like to just clarify that. However, it is compressed with static metadata, which is HDR10. Luckily, on Apple 4K TV, you can leave it on static metadata at all times, or if your TV supports Dolby Vision, you can leave it on dynamic metadata, for those of you who don't know. So, let's start with not calibrations, because God forbid if I use the word calibration, somebody might go crazy on the video. Let's use my custom picture settings for this movie on Sony X900e. Remember, this is a 55-inch Sony X900e. I am using it via Apple 4K TV. I do have a Cat 7 Ethernet cable connected to it, and I am using a high-speed HDMI 2.0 cable. Alright, so first thing first, let me go ahead and go to the picture adjustments. Currently I'm using a standard mode right here. I have my color to 63, my brightness to 43. Now, a lot of you have been asking me, why do you have your brightness to 43? Well, we'll get to that once I get to the advanced settings, and on the advanced settings I will explain to you why brightness is at 43. Okay, so I have positioned it on center right here. My camera is going to be on the center right here so you guys can see it. I do have a light over here that's positioned behind me, so that way you guys can see my remote control in my hand. So let's go ahead and let's go to the advanced settings. Don't worry, we're gonna jump into the jungle scene. Okay. First, I want to show you my calibrations. Now there's just my light changing. I have those Hue Phillips lights, and they keep changing the color. So as I said earlier, I have left my brightness at 43, and a lot of you guys ask me why the brightness at 43. Well, we'll get to that. Contrast at 90. Now, this is optional, guys. You don't have to leave a contrast at 90. You can leave it at maximum, but since I'm watching this TV from 5 feet away, and it's a 55-inch, I don't see any reason for me to be blasting my contrast. Plus, it's not a HDR master. It's a HDR compression, so you don't really need to blast that contrast all the way to the maximum. Gamma, I never mess with gamma. Black level 45. You already noticed that I have brightness to 43 and black levels to 45. So now you're going to ask, well, why do you have it to 45? We'll get to that too. My black adjustments are set to high. My advanced contrast enhancers are set to medium. Now you're realizing why my contrast enhancer is set to medium. As you have noticed that I have left brightness at 43, and you also noticed I have left black levels at 45. Now, I already have my brightness and deep dark levels as dark as I need them to be. So the reason why my contrast enhancer is set to medium, it's so that I don't crush my deep dark levels. If I have my contrast enhancers all the way high with the white brights, then my deep dark levels will be crushed. Now, local dimming is set to high. The reason I have my local dimming set to high is because I want to avoid any unnecessary bleeding light. So full array of local dimming will be set to high. I always keep this at high. You never mess with this. And again, you noticed right here, I have my extended dynamic range set to medium. So both extended dynamic range and advanced contrast enhancer are set to medium. The reason being, it's so that my white bright levels are not too bright. Because what happens is, when the white bright levels are way too enhanced with brightness and contrast, then your deep dark levels become crushed. And so you want to avoid that, and that's what I did here. Now let's go back to the color. Color, I decided to go with 63 because we are using a HDR compression. So especially with this movie, this is an old movie, so I want this movie to get a little bit more of color, because the entire movie, it's set in jungle, and I want the colors to pop, and that's the reason why. Also, I set the temperature at warm because this movie, it's in jungle during the summer, so it's very humid, warm, and it's going to look excellent. I also set my live color to high. What this basically is, it enhances the brightness on the color, so the color will look even brighter, especially in this movie, because this movie has a lot of scenes in the jungle, so it's going to look much better. In terms of clarity, I left my sharpness at 53. The only reason I left it at 53 is because this is a 55-inch. It's not a huge TV. If this was a projector, then I would move the sharpness all the way down. But since this is a 55-inch TV, I can bring my sharpness a little bit. Remember, I only went 3 clicks from the default. settings. A default settings is at 50. I only moved it up to 53. This stuff is really not that important. This is something if you're using a cable or scrambled digital signal, so you can leave that alone. Let's go back to it. So all of this stuff you can leave it on automatic. Smooth gradation, you can keep that at low. In terms of motion, I keep it at custom, and the smoothness I leave it at 3. Clearness I leave that at minimum, and this is the most important stuff. Cinemotion I keep it at high. Let me go back here again. Let me go to the motion. Now if you want to, you could keep it at true cinema, but I like to keep it at custom. Okay, so I like to keep it at smoothness at 3 and cinemotion at high. But if you want to, you can keep it at true cinema and you can keep it at cinema motion, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be the same effect because I left it at 3 as it is. But if you want, like I said, you can keep it at smooth, or you can keep it at custom, which I did right here. So this really doesn't really make much of a difference because no matter which one of those you choose, they will do a great job either way. So we'll keep it at custom right here. And as you can see right here, the movie looks fantastic. Look at the color, the HDR compression from the Apple 4K TV. Look at the detail that you see on his camouflage, on his forehead, on his cheeks. Same thing here with the poncho, and of course Dutch. You know what I mean? And Sony X900e definitely shines this movie from Apple 4K TV. And this is not even a 4K Blu-ray disc. This is being streamed. Granted, I'm using a very high-end internet speed with a Cat 7 Ethernet cable, but still, as you can see here, Sony X900e, no matter which angle you're watching it from, it's still gonna look great. Now, you guys don't have to believe me. If you have Sony X900e, and if you have Apple 4K TV, you guys can implement these settings that I have shown you over here. You guys are more than welcome to try them. Here they are. Standard mode, advanced settings, brightness 43, contrast 90, black level 45, black adjustments high, advanced contrast enhancer medium, local dimming high, extend dynamic range medium, color 63, color temperature warm, and live color high. Motion flow, you can it's up to you. You want to keep it on, you can keep it on, or you can turn it off. It's really up to you, whatever you want to do. Or you can just keep it on custom like I did here. Cinemotion, it's the same thing. You can turn it on or off. It's up to you. If you want that clarity, I'm really not a huge of soap opera effect. So if you guys want to use the soap opera effect, that's up to you. And of course, video options, HDR mode automatic, HDMI video range automatic, color space automatic. So there, as you can see, it looks fantastic. And again, you know, you guys don't have to believe me. I know it's kind of hard to tell from camera, but go ahead, try these settings, implement these custom picture settings onto your X900e, and you will see just how beautiful this movie looks. For a movie that's really old, that's 30 something years old, this is a pretty good movie. This movie was released in 1987, and here we are in 2018. And even here, from afar, from an angle, you will see just how good it looks. I'm going to show you some stills in next 2 minutes, just so you guys can see how the movie looks from each different angles. This is from the center, and I'm gonna move it right here, and it still looks great. There's Jesse Ventura right there, in his good old days. You know, I have to admit that I'm really surprised by Sony 900e and just how good this TV looks for an LED TV. So big kudos to Sony. I think they made a pretty good TV, in my opinion. I mean, for a streaming movie that's in 4K and compressed with HDR, this is pretty darn good. But however, you will have to implement these custom picture settings that I implemented here. There's no oversaturation, no deep dark levels are being crushed here, trust me. Try it out for yourself and you will see. So there you have it. If you have Sony X900e XBR 55-inch or 65-inch 4K TV, and you have Apple 4K TV, and you bought a Predator for $15 that supports 4K, and of course it also supports HDR compression. If you utilize these custom picture settings that I have utilized, I guarantee you at the moment, before they release a 4K HDR Blu-ray version, at the moment this is the best version you can get for the Predator. And I know this because I have every single Blu-ray version and every single DVD version and even VHS version I have. And even a Laserdisc version I have, believe it or not, somewhere in my basement. So I can tell you, this is a slightly better version than the Blu-ray. There you have it. Hopefully you guys like my videos. And if you didn't like him, well, too bad. What can I tell you? Other than that, thank you for watching.